I was scared I'd lose you, Emily. Emily's breathing became rapid, her voice shaking uncontrollably. You hid this from me? I'm your wife, Jacob. Why would you shut me out and share this with her instead? Because I couldn't face you seeing me differently. Jacob confessed urgently, tears streaming down his face. I couldn't bear the thought of you feeling obligated or pitying me. I wanted to protect you, Emily. Protect me? By breaking my heart? Emily shouted, her voice raw with pain and betrayal. Do you even hear yourself, Jacob? You destroyed the trust we had. You lied to me. Jacob reached out desperately, trying to grasp her hand. Emily flinched and jerked away, eyes blazing, with fresh anger. He dropped his hand, devastated. I'm sorry, Emily. You have every right to hate me, but please don't hate Sarah. She was trying to help. How can you ask me not to hate her? You both betrayed me, Emily cried, her voice trembling with despair. You took away my right to be there for you, Jacob. You made me think the worst, forced me into this pain. Jacob sank onto the couch, burying his face in his hands, his shoulders shaking with sobs. I never wanted this to happen. I love you, Emily. I messed up terribly. Emily stood frozen, her heart torn between anguish and lingering love. Her mind raced with confusion and uncertainty. Could their love survive this storm? Could trust ever truly return? She took a shaky breath, forcing her voice to remain steady. Jacob, I need time. I can't be here right now. I need to think away from all of this. Jacob lifted his head, eyes pleading desperately, the pain visible in every line of his face. Emily, please, don't go. No, Jacob. Emily interrupted decisively, her voice firm yet broken. I need space. I need to figure out if there's any way to fix what you've destroyed. Without another glance, Emily turned away, storming toward the door. Each step felt heavier than the last, yet determined. As the door clicked shut behind her, the silence echoed harshly, leaving Jacob alone, consumed by regret. Emily stepped into the night, heart shattered but resolute, unsure if their love could ever heal from the flames that had nearly consumed them. Emily walked through the dimly lit streets, tears silently streaming down her face, her thoughts swirling chaotically. Her heart was heavy, each step she took echoing loudly in her head, reminding her of the painful confrontation she had just walked away from. She wandered aimlessly until she reached the riverfront, a place that had once held countless happy memories for her and Jacob. The calm water sparkled under the city lights, contrasting sharply with the turmoil inside her. She sat down on a bench, wrapping her arms tightly around herself, feeling the chill of the night seep into her bones. She couldn't stop replaying Jacob's devastated face, the raw desperation in his voice. Was she wrong to walk away? She took out her phone, staring blankly at the screen. She hesitated, her fingers hovering over Sarah's contact. She needed answers. Taking a deep breath, she pressed dial, her heartbeat quickening with every ring. Emily. Sarah answered softly, her voice cautious. Sarah, I need to know the truth, Emily said sharply, barely holding her emotions in check. Why didn't you tell me? How could you keep this from me? Sarah hesitated, her voice trembling with regret. Emily, I swear it wasn't easy. Jacob begged me not to say anything. He was scared. He didn't want you to hurt. He kept saying he needed to find the right time. But you still had the choice. Emily snapped bitterly, tears choking her voice. You knew how much this would devastate me, yet you still chose him over our friendship. It wasn't like that, Sarah pleaded desperately. I didn't choose him over you. I was just caught in the middle. I care about both of you. I thought I was helping. Emily took a shaky breath, her voice quieter but no less hurt. Did you ever stop to think about how I would feel finding out this way? Seeing you both together behind my back? Emily, I never wanted that, Sarah said earnestly, sincerity evident in her voice. Jacob loves you so much. He's broken without you. He's terrified of losing you. He just didn't handle this the right way. Emily closed her eyes tightly, trying to block out the pain. What am I supposed to do now, Sarah? How am I supposed to trust either of you again? Sarah's voice was gentle, filled with sadness and understanding. I don't have the answer to that, Emily, but I know Jacob needs you and you still love him. I know you're hurt, but if there's even a tiny chance to heal this, don't throw it away. Emily hung up without another word, overwhelmed by Sarah's honesty and sincerity. The truth was painfully clear. She still loved Jacob deeply. Could love truly overcome betrayal? Hours passed as Emily sat staring at the water, lost in thought. Dawn began to break, painting the sky with soft shades of orange and pink. As the first rays of sunlight touched her skin, Emily felt a quiet strength within her, a resolve she hadn't felt in hours. She knew it wouldn't be easy, and forgiveness would take time, but love, real love, wasn't perfect. It was messy, complicated, and painfully human. With newfound clarity, Emily stood up slowly, taking a deep breath. She wasn't ready to forgive yet, but she was ready to fight for the love they'd built, to rebuild the trust they'd lost. With determined steps, she turned back toward home, her heart guiding her through the uncertainty. Emily walked slowly back home, her heart pounding fiercely with uncertainty and anticipation. Each step she took was heavy with the intensity of her emotions, doubt swirling in her mind. Could their love survive the flames of betrayal? Was it possible to mend trust that had been shattered so deeply? Reaching the doorstep, Emily paused, her pulse quickening. With a deep breath, she opened the door, stepping into the dimly lit house. The air felt thick, heavy with unspoken tension. Jacob sat exactly where she had left him, head bowed, visibly defeated. Jacob. Emily's voice trembled as she spoke, breaking through the silence like glass shattering. Jacob's head snapped up immediately, eyes wide with shock, relief washing over his face. His eyes were red, swollen from tears. "Emily, you came back," he whispered hoarsely, his voice filled with raw hope and vulnerability. Emily approached slowly, her gaze piercing through him. "I'm back, Jacob. But you need to understand things can't just magically fix themselves." "I know," Jacob said urgently, his voice thick with desperation. "Emily, I'll do anything to make things right. You deserve that much." Emily carefully sat beside him, still keeping some distance, her eyes locked onto his, demanding truth. "Jacob, honesty is the only way forward. Even when it hurts, even when it's terrifying." Jacob reached for her hand, his fingers shaking slightly. Emily allowed his touch, feeling a jolt of electricity, mixed with the ache of familiarity. "No more lies," Jacob promised passionately, his voice trembling with sincerity. "I'll tell you everything. I'll share every fear, every secret. Just please don't leave me again." Emily's heart clenched at his earnest plea. Her eyes softened slightly, seeing genuine remorse and vulnerability. "Jacob, trust isn't rebuilt overnight. It's fragile, easily broken. Are you truly ready to put in that work?" "More than ready," Jacob said fervently, leaning closer, his voice barely above a whisper now. "I love you, Emily. Losing you showed me how empty my life is without you. You're everything to me." Her heart raced at his words, the intensity of his declaration reigniting emotions she had tried to suppress. Emily felt tears sting her eyes again. "We have a long road ahead, Jacob, but maybe healing begins in acknowledging we're both human, both flawed." Jacob moved closer, his gaze deeply intense and vulnerable, every emotion exposed. "Together, Emily," he breathed softly, cupping her face gently. "We face it all, no matter what comes." Emily felt the warmth of his touch, her heart hammering in her chest, overwhelmed by love, fear, and hope all at once. With gentle urgency, Jacob leaned in, kissing her tenderly, softly yet passionately, as if pouring every apology, every promise, every ounce of his soul into that single moment. Pulling back slightly, his eyes locked onto hers, his voice low and intense. "Emily, you're the only truth I ever need." Emily nodded slowly, feeling the powerful pull of their connection, stronger and deeper than before. "Together, Jacob," she whispered back firmly, a fiery determination shining in her eyes. "Always." As dawn broke fully outside, bathing the room in golden warmth, Emily felt a new beginning unfold between them, a promise of strength, resilience, and the powerful realization that true love was not in the absence of pain, but in choosing to love fiercely, bravely, and boldly despite it. She stood frozen in the dimly lit doorway. Her breath caught painfully in her throat. Her eyes widened in disbelief, a torrent of emotions cascading through her as she stared at the image before her. It was her husband, Jacob, sitting across a candlelit dinner table, his fingers gently intertwined with another woman's hand. Her pulse thudded so loudly in her ears she could barely hear the quiet laughter and whispered conversation they shared. This wasn't just any woman, it was Sarah, her closest friend. Before we begin, comment below which city you're watching from and don't forget to subscribe. The betrayal hit her with the force of a physical blow, her vision blurred with tears, distorting the painful reality unfolding just feet away. She pressed a trembling hand against her chest, desperate to steady her racing heart. Her knees threatened to buckle beneath the weight of the revelation, and she braced herself against the cold brick wall, gasping for air. Emily had suspected something was off for weeks. Late-night work calls, whispered conversations abruptly, ending when she entered a room, fleeting glances and hesitant touches from Jacob. Each tiny shift had quietly chipped away at her sense of security. But suspicion was one thing. Confirmation was another brutal reality altogether. She thought back to that morning just hours earlier, when Jacob had kissed her gently goodbye, whispering, "I love you," with the practiced ease of habit. His eyes had lingered on hers, a subtle sadness shadowing his gaze, but she had dismissed it as mere fatigue. How could she have been so blind? Her thoughts spiraled, flashing back through memories they had built together over 10 years. Every anniversary, holiday, every quiet night spent dreaming of the future they promised each other. Was all of it a lie? The muted clink of glasses snapped her back to the present, drawing her eyes once again to Jacob and Sarah. Their connection felt effortless, intimate, painfully familiar yet devastatingly foreign. She watched unseen as Jacob leaned closer, murmuring something that made Sarah blush softly and look away shyly, laughter dancing in her eyes. The tenderness in his expression shattered Emily's heart anew. Emily felt her legs begin to move without conscious thought, compelled by an impulse stronger than logic or reason. Her steps were slow, cautious, each movement heavy with dread. She approached the large window that separated her from the restaurant's warmth, her reflection pale and ghostly against the glass. She was inches away, close enough to see clearly the lines around Jacob's eyes that crinkled with genuine joy, an expression she realized she hadn't seen directed at her in months. She knew she should storm inside, confront them, demand answers. Yet something held her back, a strange mixture of fear and curiosity. She needed to understand how they had reached this point, what hidden truth had eluded her until now. Questions burned fiercely inside her, each more painful than the last. Did Sarah even consider their friendship? Had Jacob ever truly loved her? Just then, Jacob glanced toward the window as if sensing her presence. Emily quickly stepped back into the shadows, heart racing. His eyes searched briefly before returning to Sarah, unaware of the devastation just beyond their intimate bubble. Emily pressed her hand to her mouth, suppressing the sob that threatened to escape. Her chest tightened, breaths shallow and erratic, as tears streamed down her cheeks silently. Every part of her wanted to run, yet she remained rooted, paralyzed by the depth of betrayal and loss. The ringing of her phone shattered the silence, startling her. She fumbled to silence it, her heart nearly stopping when she saw Jacob's name flashing on the screen. Confusion and fear gripped her tightly. Was this his twisted way of checking her whereabouts? Could he suspect she was here? With trembling fingers, she answered, forcing steadiness into her voice. "Hello? Emily." His voice was soft, tender even, sending chills down her spine. "Where are you?" She swallowed painfully, fighting to control her trembling voice. "Just running errands, I'll be home soon." He hesitated slightly. "Okay, be careful, all right?" "Of course," she whispered, disconnecting the call abruptly. The contrast, Between his gentle voice on the phone and his actions before her eyes left her feeling utterly shattered. Emily stood alone in the darkness, the bustling city around her oblivious to her private world collapsing. She drew a shaky breath, her decision clear. She had to confront them, but not yet. Not until she fully grasped the truth lurking beneath the surface of this betrayal. A single thought kept repeating relentlessly, hauntingly in her mind. What, if there was more to this than she understood? Little did Emily know, the truth behind Jacob's affair would not only leave her speechless, it would change everything she thought she knew about love, trust, and betrayal. Emily slowly stepped away. From the restaurant, her heart still pounding heavily in her chest. The streets around her felt crowded and noisy, yet somehow entirely empty. Her mind raced through memories, moments that seemed now tainted by uncertainty. Each step away from that window felt heavier, as though invisible chains were dragging her back, forcing her to face what she'd witnessed. She wandered aimlessly through the streets until she found herself on a quiet park bench overlooking the city skyline. Her phone vibrated again, jolting her from her troubled thoughts. This time it was Sarah. Anger flared up inside her, a bitter taste rising in her throat. How dare she call? But curiosity got the best of her, and Emily answered, her voice sharp. Hello? Sarah's voice sounded nervous and shaky. Emily, are you okay? You haven't responded to my texts all day. Am I okay? Emily scoffed bitterly, unable to hide the biting sarcasm. Funny you ask. A tense silence lingered. Emily, what's wrong? You sound upset. I saw you. Emily's voice cracked, tears welling up despite her efforts to remain strong. You and Jacob, together. There was a sudden sharp intake of breath on the other end. Emily, please let me explain. Explain what exactly? Emily interrupted harshly. How long have you been betraying me, my best friend and my husband? Did it feel good sneaking behind my back? Emily, it's not what you think. Please, just listen to me, Sarah pleaded desperately. There's so much more to this. We were talking about you. Talking about me? Emily laughed incredulously. Are you seriously trying to convince me of that? I swear, Emily, it's the truth. Jacob, he's been struggling with something he hasn't had the courage to tell you. It's complicated. Sarah's voice shook with genuine urgency and concern. Complicated enough to justify betraying my trust? Emily snapped, feeling the ground beneath her feet slipping away. Her world felt like it was spinning out of control. Please, Emily, just talk to Jacob, Sarah begged, her voice breaking slightly. It's not my place, but you need to hear it from him. Emily clenched her fist tightly, torn between fury and confusion. Fine, she finally spat out, her voice thick with emotion. I'll talk to him, but don't call me again, Sarah. Stay out of my life. Emily hung up, her body trembling with rage and uncertainty. Questions spiraled in her mind, each one more painful than the last. What complicated truth could Sarah possibly mean? Was it another cruel deception? Determined to confront whatever awaited her, Emily stood up and walked home, each step filled with dread and anticipation. Her breath quickened as she reached her front door, pausing briefly to gather her courage before pushing it open. Inside, the living room was dimly lit. Jacob seated on the couch, eyes cast downward. His face was drawn with tension, his shoulders hunched. Hearing the door, he looked up slowly, his eyes heavy with guilt, fear, and something deeper. Something Emily struggled to recognize. Emily, Jacob whispered, cautiously rising to his feet, his voice thick with emotion. We need to talk. Yes, we do, Emily replied coldly, stepping fully into the room. Her heart raced, knowing instinctively their relationship was about to face its greatest test yet. The air between them crackled with intensity, anticipation hanging heavy as their eyes met, both bracing for truths that might shatter their lives forever. Emily stood firm, eyes blazing with intensity, staring Jacob down as he moved closer, desperation clear on his face. The heavy silence between them was suffocating, charged with unspoken hurt and explosive tension. Emily, Jacob pleaded urgently, his voice strained and emotional. I swear I never wanted you to find out this way. Find out what exactly, Jacob? Emily shot back fiercely, her voice quivering with fiery anger. That you're sneaking around behind my back with my best friend? What else haven't you told me? No, Emily, please, it's not like that. Jacob insisted passionately, stepping closer, his eyes desperately begging her to understand. Sarah and we were talking about something serious, something that affects both of us. Emily laughed bitterly, tears now spilling down her flushed cheeks. What could possibly be serious enough for you to hide it from me? You were holding her hand. Jacob, how stupid do you think I am? Jacob hesitated, visibly wrestling with his emotions. He ran a shaky hand through his hair, unable to meet her fierce gaze. Emily, I'm sick, he confessed quietly, almost a whisper. Emily felt her heart drop violently, the anger momentarily overtaken by shock. Her legs felt weak beneath her and she gripped the edge of the table tightly. Sick? What do you mean sick, Jacob? Jacob exhaled deeply, visibly defeated, his eyes filled with guilt and pain. I found out a few months ago. It's serious. Sarah accidentally discovered it. I begged her not to tell you. I didn't know how.